Hi, everybody. I just wanted to go over your assignments for this week with you really quickly. You have two things that are due. You have this harmonic analysis assignment from Les Miserables, and then this part writing assignment. Both of these are going to be up on Shobi, and they're due on Friday of this week. So if you have any questions, just let me know, obviously before then. Just wanted to kind of zoom in, talk about a few things, listen to some of the music really quickly, and just sort of help you get your head wrapped around it, especially since we haven't done this in quite some time, right? It's been a little while. So let's take a look at the I Dreamed a Dream really quickly here. First, listen to the music, right? Aside from like kind of zooming in and figuring out, three flats, this first thing right here kind of looks like what, right? And all we're thinking here is like, what key could we possibly be in? This may seem academic at this point, but if you've watched the other video for this week, you know that I said something about chromaticism in that, and that it's not academic. Starting next week, trying to figure out what key you're in, because you're going to have accidentals, and the accidentals are going to push you into other keys. So you can't just think, oh, we have three flats and no accidentals, we're in E flat major, right? That's no longer going to be the case. So right now, you have something that looks like E flat, G, B flat, we're in the key of E flat. Yeah, for sure. That's a one chord, right? All right, so let's step back and just listen to this a little bit and see what this could possibly be. What you guys hear sort of at a macro level. I'm gonna turn this down just a second while it's playing. So what's happening here is there's actually a recitative at the beginning. So there's this introduction.
There was a time when men were kind,
and then there'll be
when their voices were soft,
a part that's more like an aria in just a second here.
There was a time when love was blind, and the world was a song, and the song was exciting. There was a time it all went wrong.
All right, so here's where the actual piece starts, I suppose. Some nice synth guitar. Beautiful.
I dreamed a dream in time gone by, when hope was high and life worth living. I dreamed that love would never die. I dreamed that God would be forgiving.
And it keeps going, right? But we're going to pause right there. Yeah, so a couple of things that kind of jump out. One, she is not singing anything remotely close to what's written on the page, which is fine. She's doing a beautiful job singing. But just keep that in mind, right? This is actually kind of something that you would see in maybe Music 214, like transcription, where you'd get this written and then have to actually figure out what she sang. What she sang is much more interesting, but this is kind of like maybe what the composer wrote. Okay, so just a couple of things to point out, right? The things that I've highlighted in red, right, are embellishing tones, and you can ignore those. But there are other embellishing tones, okay? This is just kind of giving you a little bit of help with ones that are slightly more complicated. This is like some sort of escape tone or something like that, or a neighbor tone. But there are other embellishing tones. So for instance, in this first bar, right, you get this one chord, but then all of this stays the same here, and this changes. Well, if you zoom in and you're like, it's E flat, G, B flat, D, you could say this is a 1-4-2. And actually, it kind of does what a 1-4-2 chord's supposed to do, right? The seventh of the chord resolves down, which I would actually mark this entirely correct. That's fine. Really, probably what you're hearing here is 1, and this is a passing tone. Okay, so that's kind of what I mean. Like, there are other embellishing tones that are going to be in there, and just go through and find them. I'm confident you guys can. Yeah, and other than that, it should be pretty straightforward. Things are very vertical, right? Say on the other page here that you're going to have a harmonic rhythm of every 2 beats, so you should have 2 Roman numerals per bar. Okay. This is also an outstanding recording of the piece that you should check out. Cool. Other homework is probably much more straightforward. This is just some part writing, and you have to include some non-core tones. So embellishing tones, the passing tone, neighbor tone, and the suspension. Okay. So we'll just start you off here, and then this should hopefully be pretty straightforward. I do give you some questions down here that I do want you to answer and think about. This is just giving more context for the class. And that'll be a big thing that we talk about throughout this class, because we're going to look at things in a more macro sense, especially when we get to applying chromaticism to talk about form and structure. So just think about them, give it your best shot, give me some answers about what you think they could be. But I'll just start you off with the voicing here. You don't have to use this one, but just to remind you of like what this process is, right? We need a one chord in the key of G minor, so that's going to be G, B flat, and D. I'm doubling the root here, and then, I don't know, could do that. Nice open voicing. Okay? And then, yeah, you keep going through, voice this out. This is a dominant chord in minor, so it should be sending off like alarm bells, right? That this is going to be a chord that has an accidental, right? That's the leading tone in minor. Whenever you have a 5 or a 7 in minor, it's going to have an accidental. This is so important right now, guys, because starting next week when we get into chromaticism, this is no longer going to be the case. Those will still always have accidentals, but they're not going to be your only accidental. Does that make sense? You're going to have a lot of different chromatic tones to have to deal with. So just get in habit, right? Being lots of detail-oriented thinking, that one's going to have an accidental. When you're in major here, you don't have this issue, right? Your 5s and your 7s, those are all going to be totally fine. You don't have to add anything to them. And then the last thing, just wanted to show you here. This is actually a notation problem with Sibelius, in the program I used to make your homework. This 5-8-6-4 thing, this is a cadential 6-4. So the way your textbook shows this, it would look like this. Okay. Like that. And that's what I want you to do. This is a cadential 6-4 across 2 bars. It just looks a little strange based on how the Roman numerals work in Sibelius. I think that's it. Just let me know if you have any questions. Happy to help. Again, these are the sorts of things you can drop into the Zooms on Monday or Wednesday to ask questions. I'll be in there and I can help you as best I can. Cool. Talk to you later.